What's up, guys?
Oops.
Time to ask questions. If there's any time to do it, it'd be now.
Yeah, I'm talking to them.
Hmm.
I have a
Maybe
question, but it's not
What?
3D art. It's
I knew it.
3D.
Wait, hold on. Bruno, you're talking, right? Go ahead, Bruno. Was it Bruno?
Nicholas.
I think it was Nicholas.
Oh, all right, go, Nicholas. Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
How to turn half of a sphere into a cage somehow.
What?
You know how to use Maya?
Yeah, you talking about Maya? What about Maya?
I need to turn like a half of a sphere into like a cage.
I hear
I
you
mean,
saying.
wireframe?
That.
No, I don't think. I think he's like trying to make like a bird cage.
Oh,
uh,
you'd have to. That's like technical. You'd have to do a bunch of.
I can show you how.
Oh, there it is.
I know Maya.
Right.
Um,
I have
yeah.
my ways, but it's. I don't think it's glamorous.
Did you save your flower sci-fi guy that you were working on last class?
Ooh.
I did. I think
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
it'll be
I've really seen
something.
someone pull from plants.
It'll be something similar to this. Just extract. But this is like not a half sphere, but you get the point. And it might take a while. That's the way that I would go about doing it. And just
Well, you can do it automated where you can just type in the value the variables and have it like extrude out a
yeah,
certain way
sure.
along a curve.
Yeah, I don't
That's
really
like
use Maya often. I use Silo, but Maya and all these other 3D programs have their ways.
yeah. Mine is probably not like the easiest way to get into 3D modeling.
Yeah, which one did you prefer? I like Maya.
I heard 3ds Max from a lot of like my old classmates liked it for modeling at least. It was a lot easier.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Uh,
Maya's been getting competitive with it lately, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just heard that. Like, I'm not a 3D guy.
Well, they still have like a lot that they are behind in terms of just like
But here's like the end of it all, like kind of a conversation. It's really uh, it doesn't matter. Like it's not like Photoshop. Like Photoshop is like hands down single-handedly like the best painting tool out there. You know what I mean? Like there is no disputing. Obviously, there's other ones out there like Manga Studio. I think Curl Painter's still around. In fact, anything that's actually getting close to competing is the iPad Pro Procreate because of how it feels. It feels like so natural. And that is
Oh
probably
yeah.
going to be the first time you'll start to see people divorce themselves from Photoshop. Probably
yeah.
then. But that's my point. But the only reason why people still won't and people still like that use Manga Studio will still go to Photoshop is because Photoshop is just a powerful tool that not just for painting, for photo manipulation, right? It can do
Exactly.
so much. Um, but like with the 3D scene, it's arguably different because you could really do whatever, really, right? Like,
And then it depends like your end goal is like are you trying to make like a crisp like perfect topologized model or are you just trying to get like the forms of it? Because
yeah,
depending on that it can change which program you use.
totally. Like that too is very true. Like it's also like what is the end goal? Because if you're just doing it for concept art reasons, then pretty much any 3D tool is useful. Just get good at one and move on with your life. Um, like I've seen people do great stuff with Mono. I've seen people do great stuff with XSI, even like some like AutoCAD software. You know, it's just really now it's just what do you prefer? Um, that's really what it comes down to.
I think Maya just because I'm used to it now, kind of.
Yeah, that works. If you just being used to something is good enough. It's a good enough reason to just keep at it.
But even with like ZBrush now, it's getting to a point where it was more of like an organic kind of modeling thing.
Uh-huh.
Where now it's getting to the point where you can actually get real technical, like the more popular 3D packages, and have that same quality for like actual like in-game like character models and stuff, without even having to go out of ZBrush.
Bring it to V-Ray.
Yee.
V-Ray, that's like a shading engine, isn't it?
Rendering. It's an external renderer.
What is it? Keyshot? Or
Yeah, it's kind of like KeyShot, but it's like an external, sometimes third-party add-on to some of these softwares. But again, it's like another kind of like, yeah, you can use it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like
Mental
some people use what is it called? Jesus, it's really good too. Um, Octane. Octane's really good. But again, it's just
That's a render,
yeah,
like a third party.
yeah. But again, it's just like preference.
Yeah.
Some people love KeyShot. That's
I heard that Painter is really good too. Was it called Painter? Is like something?
Yeah, Corel Painter.
No. It's a
for
3D
rendering.
render. Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that. I heard that one's really good.
Saw Dominic Queck was coming out with some cool tilt brush
Oh,
stuff.
dude, I fucking love his model.
Yeah, he started getting into it. He also started using, I think it's called Medium, which is the sculpting one.
Uh,
So, yeah, Dom is really good.
Yeah, he's got some cool monsters, that's for sure. Some good flavor.
Good friend of mine too. I talk to him often.
oh, you know each other?
Yeah, we used to work together at Blizzard.
Badass.
Yeah, he was like one of the first adopters of Gumroad after me. I was like, you should do Gumroad. He's like, okay, man, I'll use Gumroad. And he did. He's like, dude, this is so awesome. Kill him.
I have a
Anyway,
question about your cleaning, like your clean edges. Like what kind of like any kind of like practice or anything that helped you just get into it.
yeah, the best tool that I can give you in terms of how to practice it
Mhm.
is just try to paint less, meaning try not to do so much brush work. It's usually the downfall.
Okay.
Right? Try to do a painting that only requires 4 or 5 strokes, or I'm sorry, not painting, but like a detail that doesn't require a lot of effort. And it's going to be very difficult. That's kind of the
Yeah.
point. That is kind of the point. So press this monstrosity. Cool. Um, yeah, because a lot of times people are, again, they're just so caught up with like noodling that they don't realize it's just a waste of time. And so I usually encourage people to try to do less and less strokes, because it's just how you get better. It's like the less you're applying means the more confident you are with what you're doing. And the only way to get better at that is to just start practicing that.
Mhm.
So for instance, I used to do this thing a long time ago. I didn't do a lot of it, but it was pretty helpful, which was paint with my mouse. That was pretty good. And then also another good tip or trick that I did was I used to try to do 25 stroke paintings or something like that, or 30 stroke paintings. I can give you an example. So I have only 20 strokes to paint something, and I can't undo. So it'll be like 1, oh, already made a mistake. First one's wasted. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, whoops, oh, 21, 22, 22. Right? I'll try again. And you'll notice that I would do stuff like this, like one, just like one long one, because I haven't lifted with my pen.
Yeah, you're trying to like find the bulk of the form.
Yeah, and this is what it
Like,
led, exactly, this is what it led to, which was to not lift my pen at all. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, what the, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right? And you'll see that a lot of it has to do with confidence in making the right shape the first time, not the second time. You know?
mhm.
Or the other one is you'll start to see that the first 20 strokes for most people will be like this, like just that, and then bam, it's done. You wasted 22 strokes already, and you haven't even got anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
For rendering, is there like what's the best way? What's up?
No, I was just talking to myself. I want to get some reference. I think it's time.
Uh,
So I want to reach that Brad Rigney level of like incandescent surface material bullshit. So
oh, that was another question I was going to ask.
what's up?
That's just rendering. But yeah, for rendering, I can't remember if it was like one of the demos you did for us or just like a extra video. You're talking about how like when you're going over the values with the darker shade to like fill in the shadows and like I, I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question. Like how do you control like almost perfectly the values without because like in if you were to have like a really dark value or like a local value and then a really light value, and if you're just to do like one stroke over it with just black, it wouldn't be accurate, you know, when like the actual lighting of that just having that black stroke. Like what's the best way to go about it without having to like isolate each value? Is that are you understanding? I don't know.
No, not really. I'm trying to think about it though. Can you ask that question again, but try to simplify it?
Yeah, I'm trying to see a better way. Um, so see how like in the middle where the values towards the top, it's like it's light. It goes from light to dark. It's like the values and then the colors change.
Uh-huh.
But like in between, like if you were to do like shadow pass over that area where there'd be, well, it's kind of hard because it looks like it's all one local value for the most part.
Oh, I hear what you're
Except,
saying.
yeah. But like if there's a light local value and then a dark one next to each other, well, it's a complicated question because it's I'm wondering for like hard surfaces and then organic which I have a harder time. Like, how do you transition without like and keeping your strokes like to a minimal without it getting too messy, you know?
It's just practice.
Yeah.
You gotta like, so you're saying like, how do you paint values within the darker values? It's just
Yeah.
knowing you can't go too dark and you can't go too light, and then just being able to live in that sweet spot of not too dark and not too light, right? And again, it's just a matter of having, strong economy with your brushstrokes. You know, it's really what it comes
Yeah.
down to, like having a really strong. Because look, I put texture on both the shadow end and on the light end, but it looks like it's beautifully transitioned, and there's like no secret to it. It's just practice. I do say that there's like a 30% rule that like nothing in the light should go past 30%, basically 15% in each direction. So like if this is like the mid-tone value right here, then it can't be this light and it can't go that dark because it's more than 15%. But
So like personally, do you
something
get
like
to the
this
point?
light is fine and something like this dark is fine because it's
Uh,
not too dark, it's not too light. But I even go more subtle than that because our eyes are really good at spotting even just the most
and then
subtle detail.
is that for like subsurface scattering as well?
No, it's just a
Or
technique
like
for
not
subsurface.
subsurface, I mean specular lighting, like when you get into actual rendering. Is it the
Well, like if you're
same?
doing specular, that's determining the material now. Now you're saying you're talking about a different problem. That's now
Yeah.
saying like this is a shiny surface, and then that
Yeah.
changes the scope of like how we handle the surface,
Oh, okay.
right? Um,
That's one of the main issues. It is both of those issues in one. Or I was having those issues. Like rendering it, getting the values correct and like in the local values and then the shadows and then doing like a render pass with the specular light.
yeah, I hear you. It's all difficult, you know.
I feel like that right image, or actually both of them with the specular lighting, it's good. Well, all three, I guess.
Yeah, it's just because Brad's really good at his his renders, man. He's super good.
Yeah.
In fact, the one thing that I'm trying to get out of this is not so much even that. It's just like his edges are really good. They're very convincing.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think is really good about his stuff, and not so much the texture. It's just like the edges are so good. And so I'm thinking of ways that I can make it my own. So I was thinking maybe I could just do cross hatching. That's a good thing that I can do. I'm just get really good at it.
Uh,
That's what went through my mind right now because I don't want to emulate it because Brad is already Brad and he's already better than me at that. It'd be pointless. But what I'd rather do is like try to bring something that I can paint like almost as good as him, but faster. Like I got this done in like probably a fraction of the time that he would take. But it's not as quality as his. But that's the trade-off. But eventually it will be maybe even better, right? But right now it won't be because I consider him a master beyond me, right? He's like someone that influences me to this day. Very, very, very few artists still do that for me. Like there's a lot of artists that I used to really admire. And not to say that I don't like their work. I love their work. It's just that I don't get anything out of them anymore if I look at them. Because I feel like I've surpassed them. But there's still a few that are out there that's just like crazy impossible for me to catch them. I'm still chasing them. I can't catch those mother effers, you know? Because they're still working on their craft too, and they're like
yeah.
mastering it.
You just stop time and everything would be fine. You
Just need to meet them and
spend 100 years.
break their arms, both of their arms, so they can catch up.
Yeah.
Eventually, they'll start drawing with their feet, and they'll be better than me. So. But that one moment where their arms are broken will give me a chance.
Or if you like try to like brain damage them and they end up becoming like more of a savant. You're a genius.
All jokes aside, though, like yeah, there's few artists there that are still like really impressive to me, and I love them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Jeremy Geddes is one of those people because he's like already painting photographs. Um, it's kind of like
Guinness like the beer?
Jeremy Geddes.
Oh, get it.
Geddes.
Gittes. Oh, I see it.
Jadis.
Oh yeah, I've seen this guy's work before. It's pretty sick. Like with the floating people and stuff.
Yeah. But, it's a different subject matter. I understand that as well. It's not kind of
Yeah.
the same. But in terms of quality of painting, I try to live up to his standard.
He's really good at like clothing.
Yeah, in terms of really good painting, in terms of really good paint technique, I look at Leyendecker still. Leyendecker is still a beast. Like he's someone that I look up to when it comes to like how do you paint more efficiently? Like who do you look at? Look at him.
And then I had another question about edge control.
The event? It's a great event. You should go. Just kidding.
That's plug, shameless.
Yeah, you're saying?
Oh, but I don't know if I'm just going about it wrong, but finding that like good medium where you could have like hard edges and have that like depth of focus. Am I better off just using like the Photoshop like blur filters and actually like trying to do like a soft brush for like soft edges when it comes to that?
That's a hard one to answer as well. But like I've seen people like Jana Swimmer
Yeah.
and like Mateus Fairsil, her husband. They like start off like super soft paintings and then they clear it later, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Like they sharpen the painting after the fact. I've seen people who start super hard. That sounded perverted. People who start really with like hard brushes and then they go and add soft edges.
Yeah. Watch your words.
Yeah. And so it's just a matter of like what you want. I can do both. And I find
Yeah.
a benefit in both. You know, that's why I like the standard round brush because it can both be hard and soft, right? You have an opportunity to do whatever. Yeah, you guys are children.
Yeah, I don't know, just like I feel like it gets too messy when I try to soften edges with the soft brush.
Yeah, it's just because you just don't have enough practice with it. It's really that. That's all it is, man. Like you need to stop harboring around this. It's just you just need to sit down and just practice hardcore. Because right now, like I used to have a hard time painting with the soft brush as well. The soft brush was really difficult to paint with. And then I realized it had nothing to do with the soft brush. It's just because I was handling it, inappropriately. Like I was just doing really, really, garish paint strokes that had no business being painted that way using the soft brush.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, something like this, like going in here and just being like, that's just how are you gonna clean that up? And then try to clean it up with the soft brush? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Gets
Yeah, I
even
think
worse. So you gotta like understand. Okay, well, like at this point, using the soft brush will be pointless unless I really do like more of like a very large paint stroke. But even then, it's like I need to put some color to this. You
yeah.
know, and it makes more sense for like an ambient occlusion pass, like adding like deeper pockets of shadow, right?
Yeah.
Or going in here and adding detail. But when you paint with a softer brush at a smaller scale, it becomes more useful. And you just learn that by just digging deep in it, like getting into that tool. But I find like using it in the beginning is a much more approachable thing, or using it with layers,
And then
or
just sharpening it over
yeah,
time.
or using it with layer masks and such.
And I still have that's like a whole nother thing. The method you showed with like the painting with layer masks, I
Yeah,
haven't even tried that yet.
Yeah, it's all difficult.
Yeah.
Mm. Any other questions?
Um, so if you're making a character and then putting it into an environment, how would you do it where it's just like it's not like where it doesn't end up like the character's like cut out and where it blends in with the environment itself?
Um, basically, don't do that. Like, what specifically do you mean?
So like if I decide to put a character in an environment,
Uh-huh.
and I decide to like render both the character and environment, it's like what has happened to me in the past where basically the character looks out of place in the
Oh, I
environment where it
see.
doesn't blend in.
I think it has a lot to do with just the lightings don't match. That's usually what it is.
Okay.
And after seeing kind of the work that you submitted for me recently, um, like we were worried about focusing on getting your forms better, I could see that being the main issue, was that you
Uh-huh.
probably weren't consistent with both the lighting and the character being placed there. A good exercise
Okay.
for this is just like try to paint a metal sphere in a photo. Like get a photo and then try to paint a sphere in there. Or try to paint
Okay.
multiple spheres, because
Okay.
then if you could do that, then you could put like, you could take another more abstract object like a cone or something and try to do that and do more abstract and then more abstract and then more complicated until eventually you can do like a character. But usually it all has to
Oh.
match.
Okay.
But usually, based off of what you're telling me, like the main symptom, it seems like, it's just you're just not good at either. And it's just like really hard to do both all of a sudden. You're asking
Yeah.
a lot. Like even for myself, it's difficult to do that, right?
Okay.
But it'd be much easier for me because I understand the basic concept of like that the lighting needs to match, right?
Okay.
And I have the advantage of being able to paint a character well.
Mhm.
Maybe not so much the environment. The environment would be the hard part.
That's true.
Cool. Any other
Thank
questions?
you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks.
Bruh, Nicholas, talk.
Speak. I
Bruh,
allow you. Alright, then don't speak. Whatever. It's your choice.
don't speak. I'm not gonna sing that song. I was going to.
I was about to. Couldn't help it.
It's a good song.
Mm.
It is, no doubt. Such a good man.
One
Such a good
What are you guys planning to do this weekend? Got a question.
Party.
Us?
Cool. Party?
homework.
Huh? Hibernate.
Oh,
Paint all day, every day.
all day, every day.
What the?
Okay there. No need to show off.
No, I spend a stupid amount of time applying for jobs lately because I lost that job and then basically paint for a
Ooh.
good portion of the night.
Oh yeah, me too. I just stopped going actually, but
What?
Oh, see?
dude, these guys are assholes. I was working at Denny's as a dishwasher for like $9 an hour, and
Oh
the
wow.
position was dishwasher slash like server, and so I was doing two jobs at once, and
Oh.
I was there for like 2 weeks. They didn't write out a schedule for me, and I was like, what the fuck? So like every day, like after work, I had to ask the manager when I was supposed to come in. I was like, oh, this is bullshit. I'm not gonna come
Yo, I feel that.
in.
I had a job one time where I was like, I was the server, the dish, the bus girl,
Mhm.
the chef,
Yeah,
and
I
the
was
cashier, and the cashier. And then they get mad because they go like, "Why aren't you at the cash? Because I'm serving, bitch." Like, what more do you want?
That sucks.
Mm,
That's too bad.
the hard life, bro.
Oh yeah. So looking for a job. Anyone hiring?
Uh, I know like usually around like December, people usually like open up jobs. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's like no jobs here at all. It's really bad.
Where?
America?
No, no, just in the city I'm in.
Yeah, we have no jobs at all in America. None.
Take your gerbs.
The land of the free? What? It has no jobs?
Literally, we just run around frolic, shooting our guns, eating our cheeseburgers.
Hell yeah. If I ever heard
America.
Guns and burgers.
Guns and burgers.
It's not in and out. It's just in and shoot yourself.
I'm gonna make a shop.
I'm shoot
I'm
yourself.
gonna make $1 million a day. I'm gonna make this place called Guns and Burgers, and you come in there, and we
You know how
sell
much-
water guns. We sell water guns, and we sell veggie burgers. It'd be the greatest joke.
You're joking,
Like a
but
little shop like that called Buns and Guns. My friend went to America once.
Yeah,
You get a burger and then you shoot a gun. It's the
That's
whole
it.
experience.
that sounds great.
Making America great again, guys.
I haven't been shooting
Instructions unclear. I shot my bun.
You see, I live in a peaceful place called Canada, you know, with free healthcare.
That sounds boring.
It's nice. I get to live.
Boring.
Wait, tell me that story when I'm about to go to bed. The Canadian dream. I have nightmares.
What is it?
Tell me that story when I'm about to go to bed about how great Canada is so I can just pass out.
Have you ever been to Canada? Remy?
No.
Dude,
I'm just
exactly.
I'm
No, I know you're kidding, but I just wanted to say, like, it's like exactly like the States on the surface. It really is. It's crazy. I've been to Vancouver and Toronto. Vancouver is like, it's like, it literally is like the backdrop of America. Like, because we use it in all our movies. And like, there's different parts of the city that look like different parts of America. It's just like,
all that every frame of
So
painting.
beautiful.
yeah. Same thing with Toronto, but Toronto's like a lot more. It's like a cleaner version of the States.
You say Toronto. Oh no, Toronto.
Toronto.
Wrong.
Toronto.
Toronto.
You know there's a T in Toronto, right?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Excuse me?
I don't know.
There's not two O's in about, and there's not two O's in sorry. Just
No,
so
it's
you know.
sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, like I saw you. Sorry, you know? Like a sorry.
You guys are
I
all
thought you said.
wrong.
Wait, say about? How do you say about?
About.
See, that's how Americans say about.
A
Well,
boot.
how else do you think we say?
A boot.
Maybe in like Newfoundland. I
It's
don't know.
not a boot. That's
If you meet a Newfoundlander, they're the OU, like out
Yeah.
or an hour, really
Like
over
house.
it. Like hugely. They'll be like, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
about to shower, or
Oh no.
Watching Fargo right now.
yeah, pretty much.
all right. Do you guys have any other questions? Do another painting. Feeling the mood.
Advice for trying to get a job and possibly moving to a different country.
Yeah, different
And when
country.
to know what shit.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry, Nicholas.
Advice for trying to get a job and trying to move overseas, I guess. Because I've applied like the last couple of months. I sort of like have a portfolio and I've sent it out or whatever. And it's just like every day. It's just like, your skills do not match whatever we're looking for. I'm like, cool. So I don't know. When do you know when you're ready, or you just keep sending and sending and sending and sending until someone actually says like, yeah.
Well, when your stuff's good enough, they told you. They literally told you. It's just you don't want to admit it, right? That's what it is. Like when I would go to show after show after show, people tell me that I wasn't good. They would tell me indirectly. They'd be saying like, "Oh, you don't have the skills, or you don't have enough experience, or you really need to diversify your portfolio, or you really need to specify your portfolio, or you need to have more of this in it, or you have to have less of that in it." They'll tell me all kinds of stuff, right? But all they were really avoiding was saying, "You just aren't good." Like, you're just not good enough to work here, right? It's really that simple. You know?
Keep practicing.
Yeah. So think about it like this: like, name a company. Let's start with Blizzard. Let's do Blizzard, and
Yeah.
let's do World of Warcraft, right? So let me find something that's pretty impressive. Probably something that Tyson did or Rob did.
By the way, this whole clean edge thing, it's like mind-blowing that it's actually working because I'm working on my piece at the same
Uh,
time as I'm
who
playing.
would have
And
thought
it makes
listening to your
everything
teacher
so
would
much
help?
clearer.
Who would have thought that your teacher knows best?
So you
I don't
definitely
know, not me.
All right, so take a
so
look at
kind of
this,
like
right? Like let's say you're trying to get a job at Blizzard right now. Is your
Yeah,
stuff at this level, or is it of this quality, or of this genre?
probably no.
Yes or
No.
no? It's pretty simple. Yes or no?
No.
No, right? So why should they give you a job?
I'm just
Just
such
in
a
the
nice
hopes, yeah, just in the hopes that you will figure it out.
yeah.
No, it's not how it works, man. It's like imagine trying to get a job as a doctor, right? And be like, look, man, I watched a lot of House, and I sewed up a few people's stitches once. All right, cool, bro. Like, you know what? We'll give you a shot. Go ahead and take this heart out and replace it with a horse heart. Good luck. No, right? And obviously that's an extreme example, but it's very similar in terms of like what is expected of you. You know what I mean? Um,
Mm.
Witcher 3 concept art. Let's look at different.
Study project.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see some of their better work. Something like this. This is pretty good. So again, like, do you find yourself of stuff that of this quality?
No, I
No,
guess
right?
not.
Not really. It's okay. It's okay to like just admit it, but it's the point. Like you have to admit it to yourself, right? And here's the thing: it's just like not just the quality of it, but the style of it. Like, do you have anything in your portfolio that would remotely fit into The Witcher?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And whole sectioning thing for it, but it's not as good.
Yeah. So like, there's like a few aspects of it, and like there's the quality of the work. Is it up to the standards? If that alone is enough to just, if you don't have that, then work on that. Or even the genre of your work, right? Like, does it even fit in that world? You
Well, I've
know?
got a bit of everything really.
Yeah. But is it Witcher
It's quality
3?
enough.
And is it quality? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the point I'm trying to get at, right? And, and for whatever reason, people are confused by this. They're just like, I don't get why I'm not getting a job. It's like, you're not fitting that puzzle piece. Like, you're like trying to fit a triangle shape into a square peg, which you can actually do if you put it sideways. But you get my point.
Oh, man.
Math. Circle peg. Or circle hole. Right? Another way of thinking about it is like if a company is only selling apples and you have nothing but pears, like we're looking for apples. Like I'm selling apples. I'm an apple selling company. And then you come to me, Nicholas, and say, well, I sell pears. Like, give me a job. I was like, no, we're called Apples R Us. It'd kind of be weird if we just started selling pears. He's like, no, dude. Like, look how good my pear is. It was like,
I hear that. Like a lot of like people say like aim your portfolio for like one studio. Like you really like the artists in like From Software or wherever. This one direct studio. You should
yeah,
make all your stuff in one studio. But doesn't that mean you only really have the ability to get into one studio and they're already way better than you and the people there are already on their way getting better than that, so there's like no point. Shouldn't I like try and get a broad one and see where I can go? I
yeah,
just don't know
sure, if
what
you're pessimistic. I mean, how do you think those people got a job? You think they just like, all right, we got all we need. Close the doors. Shut the doors. You know, and then they just close the doors and they lock the key, and then the art director eats the key, and like no one was ever seen. Like, how do you think people get in, man? Like, of course there's ways in, dude. It's just it's like if you broaden your portfolio, yeah, you might have more opportunities to working for different companies, but why do you want to work for different companies so badly? You know, you don't want to work for a small mobile game company that treats you like shit, do you? Well, it's a job. I got in because of my mediocre artwork. Well, cool, bro. You're gonna hate it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, of course, getting a mediocre job is actually not as difficult. And getting even a more mediocre job is even easier, right? But if you want to stand out and you want to get better jobs, you got to have better artwork. That's just how it is. And catering your portfolio to one specific company is not a bad tactic because it just means that you have a good ability to simulate to certain styles of work. You know, like I have stuff that could fit from fun software, but they never approached me. But yet I've had a very successful career, right? I'm just naturally drawn to dark fantasy artwork, right? And I get jobs doing dark fantasy stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I just got a project I got hit up by my old boss from a company very, very first company I ever worked with. And he hit me up and he wants me to be kind of like a offhand art director for him for this game he's working on. It's number one. It was number one when it was launched on Steam and it did really well. It's called Osiris New Dawn. It's like this open. It's kind of like what No Man's Sky was trying to be, you know. Uh, and it's actually really nice. It's really cool, you know. And he's having me be an offhand art director and concept artist, and it's like sci-fi genre with creatures and robotic stuff. It's like right up my alley. Right.
Straight up.
Yeah, that's why I started doing those robotic stuff you saw I posted recently on my Facebook. Did you see those?
Like the crazy colored ones.
Like there's a robot. It's just the very latest thing that I did. Here, let me just pop it open.
I've been out of hospital the last couple of days. Sorry.
That's all right. You're probably working. That's probably better. So like something like this. This is something I just did, right? And it's supposed to go towards more realistic looking sci-fi esque armor because these people are like soldiers, but not really. They're like engineers and doctors. They're like it's like The Martian meets Minecraft, right? In terms of a game, where you build your own station, you mine and you get stuff. You can build spaceships and vehicles and mechs and stuff, but you have to build it.
Mm,
You know, you start off slowly building into that. You know what I mean? And
building.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I got the game, and let me see. Yeah, so I started doing creature designs again. It's my class. And I did another mech design, but it's not there. There you go. You know? Just getting back in the swing of things because I've been doing hardcore dark fantasy stuff. You know? So doing creature designs is cool. I'm down for that. I'm in the long haul, you know what I mean?
You really reckon just aim it for one sort of thing?
Yeah, not because it's like you're selling yourself short. It's because you need to have a very distinct voice. And if you're having a hard time knowing what quality work to have, it makes it easier to have a target. Does it make sense? Even if you don't work there at the end.
Yeah, you see what they're doing and try
Yeah,
and like
because
do this.
yeah, because if you do Halo-esque artwork, I mean, there's no reason why the people at Destiny wouldn't hire you. or the people now at Titanfall and Infinity Ward wouldn't hire you. You know what I mean?
It's good enough.
Because it's now quality work, even though maybe your original goal was Halo, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I call this the American Idol approach. So like talent shows like the American Idol
Yeah.
or like anything of that nature. So what I mean by this is that they highly recommend people not sing original songs, right? That's like an ongoing requirement. Okay, I'm sure you've heard this before, right? Like, don't sing original songs. And it, on the surface, it seems like, oh, that's stupid. Hollywood and their rules, right? Trying to shun creativity, very hipster millennial type of thinking. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about that for a second then. Well, why is that the case? It's because like if you're hearing somebody sing an original song, it's really hard to gauge the quality of it. You know what I mean? Like imagine singing like a Jack White song, like Jack White did for the White Stripes, right? Like he has a very distinct voice. It's very hard to be able to know that that guy had something going if you didn't hear the array of songs he had. And most people usually built up to having the ability to become a pop star. You know?
So straight away you can tell, like, you can put it besides the actual song and say, like, is this as good as that? So if I'm trying to do like a painting for like a specific studio, they can put it right towards their own stuff and say,
Absolutely.
is that as good?
So it's like the American Idol approach is like if I sing a Justin Bieber song, everybody knows the Justin Bieber song, right? Like baby, 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 right? But if I put like all of a sudden a jazz voice to it and all of us sing it in a different kind of way that most people didn't expect, right? That's the aspect that I think you should understand is that you should take that and put your own voice to it at the end. You know? Like what do you think it should sound like? And that's how you stand out. That's how you get those into the door because you're bringing something that they don't already have, but it could fit into their universe. You know?
Yeah.
Like you basically are ready to work. Like as soon as you walk through that door, they don't have to teach you how to work there. Right? Like you're good to go. In fact, if anything, you can come in and start teaching them how to do some interesting things. Right?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It makes sense. I just got to think about like where I want to go now, I guess.
Wait, hold on just a second. Oh yeah. 1 second, guys. My friends are leaving.
Were you trying to come to America?
Huh?
I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to sort of do in the future. I was thinking about maybe going to like a school to learn 3D in a school or something, or just
I think it's better to take an online course.
Mhm.
Don't
Big
listen to her. She's a no shit.
Excuse me?
You gotta do.
Go sleep with your gun, man.
Hey, she never treated me wrong.
Okay, not yet.
Well, I mean, if
Uh,
you go to a school, you're gonna get stuck with things like prerequisites you have to take and a bunch of other
Mhm.
stuff that you don't need. So that's why online usually tends to be better because if you want to
Yeah.
specifically focus on something, you don't have to take that other bullshit like English and math. That's gonna
I
take up
And
your time.
yeah, and like plus like the teachers I find online actually do kind of like teach and care.
I'd say first of all, math isn't bullshit.
Well, it's not bullshit, but it's like
Like
it's gonna get in the way of like what
if,
you're
if
really trying to focus on.
if you want to learn
yeah.
3D, math is kind of important. Like if you want to learn it well, I'd say learn math.
no, I don't know.
Like
I just want to be a concept artist, but I'm just trying to learn it to get better at it. It's pretty much
Yeah,
all I
well,
want
the
to do.
There.
thing you're gonna have a problem with is if you have like very little experience with 3D, it's gonna take a long time to get even just used to the program to even get to the point where you could start experimenting.
Nah.
I mean like
A long time in uni or on my own.
I
Well,
think
in university, it would take a shorter time because everything's streamlined, of course. So
uh
it,
mm,
that's
Debatable. Anyway.
that's
I've getting the hang of it now. I just want to start like. To be honest, I
Yeah,
just want to work.
I guess
Get some of it.
the problem I have with your mentality, Nicholas, is just that you're in such a hurry. Why are you in such a hurry, brother?
Because I don't like not doing it as a job, and I don't like
Yeah,
moving where I am.
yeah,
Well,
and then
that's
you don't want to rush into it.
well,
Trust me on this. Trust me 100% on this, okay? Like you want to, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to get a job, like absolutely keep trying. But don't get so discouraged if you don't have one tomorrow or the next day or whatever, right? You should appreciate the burn, okay, and the earning of it, because it will happen. I promise you. Okay, you got the willpower. That's great, and you got the skills that are slowly accumulating. That's great too. You know, but I've met countless amount of people like over the many years of my career that worked for some of the best studios in this industry and hated it. I just did a workshop with Tyson Murphy, and we had a really good heart-to-heart. We were talking about stuff. And we were talking about it. He's like, yeah, I get Twitter comments all the time. People are like, what? Tyson Murphy's leaving Blizzard? Because he was the lead, and he was opted to be the art director too, and he
what
left.
didn't you like it?
Huh?
I've worked in a pipeline before. Like before, I made like a TV show with a small studio just in like a city near me, and
Yeah.
it was like the best job ever. But
Yeah. You know what's funny? The ironic twist of it all is I found working for smaller teams is just so much more fun. It's more light. The bigger the company, the less it actually becomes. Because I left Blizzard too, you know. And I have really no interest of going back. And it was one of the best companies I worked for, really. But I still just didn't like it, you know. A lot of people, for instance, I have a buddy who worked on Evolve for like 5 years, and he decided to leave because, well, they were working on Evolve 2, and he just doesn't want to work on Evolve again for another 5 years. It'll be a decade of working on the same stupid game, you know? And not to say the game's stupid, but you get what I'm saying? Like, that's how he felt. He's like, I don't want to work on a fucking, I don't want to be known as the guy who worked on Evolve. I mean, Chris Metzen retired, and he was like the face of Blizzard, and he's still in his 40s. He's still relatively young, right? And on the flip side, you have people like Stan Lee who love everything Marvel. Like but he's at his prime. It took him to his 90s, really, you know. And
yeah,
it's not a matter of getting a job, is what I'm trying to say. Like I think that's inevitable. It seems like you already had a job, right? It's not about getting the job. It's about doing what you love, right? And letting that just happen naturally, just getting the job naturally. And I don't mean like just sitting there waiting for someone to knock on your door naturally, right? I mean like actively go about it, but like build a portfolio that's not about getting jobs, but about what you love to do. And then apply to jobs with that portfolio. Apply to companies that make sense with your portfolio. And there's just as many companies that you don't know about, just like they don't know about you. It's easy to be like, I can't get a job for like a big studio in America. But what about all the hundreds of studios that are just starting up in your country alone? You know what I mean?
so it's
There's
not a problem, I guess.
Yeah, and here's a really good mind fuck for you. Why don't you start the company, you know? Like why don't you start the outsourcing company? Then why don't you have people come to you, right?
How do I? Okay, I guess just
Well,
keep
like
waiting.
I mean, like how do you think? You just start building a reputation, you start doing freelance, you just start doing it. And it might start with you getting jobs, but like that's the bigger goal. So you're not your goal is not about just getting a job anymore, is it? You have a larger goal, and then getting a job is just part of that. You understand?
Yeah,
Like we did a workshop in Toronto with Frank Hong, and Frank was that guy. He worked for Hollywood, and he was the most impressed he ever was. And then he created his own studio in Toronto, you know, to work for Hollywood, but with his friends and with his colleagues. You know what I mean?
and he's just
And he lives in Toronto. Yeah, he brought the studios to him. You know, like how do you think companies like that how do you think Six More Vodka or Imaginism or Massive Black or what are all the other epic ones?
Mm,
battle, house artists.
Yeah, they just build towards it, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow, of course, right? But if you make that kind of your plan, like, you know what, you're sick and tired of looking for the jobs, I'm going to bring the jobs to me. But it may have to start with you looking for jobs, so you can
But
build
what I
that
didn't get.
reputation, then that's great. I think that's a better kind of larger scope because it's more like putting your destiny in your own hands type of ideals. And it might require you to, like I said, work first for others, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to work for others or you should just completely give up on the search of a job. I'm just saying I feel like your priorities of just like trying to get a job and a job alone is misguided is what I'm trying to say. Because one day you're gonna get that job and then you're gonna be like, I don't like this job. And you're gonna leave that job. And you're gonna be in this weird perpetual self-deprecating world, where you just don't ever feel satisfied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I went through that myself. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You understand? And I've seen too many other people do it too. It's not like I'm alone. I've seen this happen countless amounts of times. Right? Let me give you lots of good examples. So we were at the airport. Me and Dan were talking. We were talking about Valve and how they pretty much stopped making video games. Right? They've kind of decided, like, we're not gonna make video games anymore. We're just gonna kind of be a game publisher type of thing, a game platform. Right?
Yeah.
And I told Dan that, and Dan's like, "Ah, man, I don't get it. Like, why do people just stop wanting to create? Like, why don't they keep creating awesome stuff?" And I was like, "Well, because people change the things that they care about. That's why. Maybe they just don't care about that stuff. You know? Maybe what they care about is helping smaller companies make a name for themselves. Maybe that's what's important to them now. You know? There was a time that they cared about making video games, and that was important to them. But now, like, they really, as a larger company, could probably care less. They're just going to live up on that. They're going to live off of the Team Fortress Counter-Strike money and Dota money, and just help smaller developers make a name for themselves. And that's totally fine, you know? That's trying to explain it to him. Yeah, I was like, yeah, look at John Lasseter. I mean, he started Pixar, but now what's John Lasseter doing now? You know? He's not animating anymore. He's not even directing, you know? I think he's going to direct the new Toy Story, but it's been a while since he directed anything before that, right? Look at Abrams. Abrams directed Star Wars, and he probably decided to never direct a movie ever again. Why?
Shit.
How come? How does that
Don't like
happen?
it.
Right? It's just because, you know, he doesn't care for it. You know what I mean? Like he's at a different point of his life. Chris Metzen left Blizzard. Lasseter is not around anymore. Who else? Gabe from Valve doesn't want to make video games anymore. Bill Gates is like so far removed from Microsoft. Like people don't even remember that he works, like he's the owner of that company. People keep forgetting, right? Because he's doing like other stuff, saving the world and shit. Mark Zuckerberg, same thing, right? It's because
Yeah.
people change and like they might have started their success with that thing, but it might not be the thing that made them happy, you know? And that might take time for you to, Nicholas, to discover for yourself. I'm not going to say that you're going to overcome this problem overnight either, right? This conundrum. But I want you to start thinking about it. That's all.
Yeah. It's not that I don't like doing work. It's like the best thing. I just want to be able to do it full time, more than just in like
Yeah,
my spare time, trying to make it happen.
totally. And I'm just trying to prepare you when that day happens because it will happen eventually. Be prepared. It might not be all that it's cracked out to be. And you're gonna. I almost 100% am sure that you're gonna have that's gonna happen to you. You're gonna be like, oh, what? I'm not cool with this. Like I know too many people that have done that. Are like, dude, I would love to work for Blizzard, and they work at Blizzard, and they're like, I hate this place. And I'm like, what the? But like I said, I could be wrong because I know a lot of people who love just to work. You know, just love working for like a studio. You know, like they absolutely love it, especially for the studio of their dreams. That happens, but I think it's like very rare. It's not as common as you may think. I think a lot of people like in our field are very ambitious, and we have a very high standards for what we want. And when we start to see behind the curtain, start to see the Wizard of Oz a bit, it starts to change our perspective of what we actually care about. Especially when you start to realize that it's no different from then when you worked at the small studio, except there's a lot more politics and things take longer to get done.
Well, even that, I'd love to be back at the small studio, but it's just closed because there's nothing in Australia for it. Like, that studio, I'd love to still be there. It's just gone.
Yeah, that's why maybe you need to make it yourself. Maybe make your own stuff. It's not as difficult as you might think. Especially nowadays, man. Especially now. Like there was a time where you would have said that to me, like, or I would have said something like that to you, and you'd be like, "What? You're stupid. There's no way I could build like a whole thing on my own, right?" But that time has passed. It is not that silly anymore.
Dude, freaking Unreal pays people.
Unreal's free. Yeah, Unity's free. Exactly.
Yeah. No, but like they'll fund your game if like you have a good concept and you have it like fleshed out.
Yeah.
And it's good enough.
There's just so much more opportunities for people that are very creative these days. Is all I'm trying to get at. In fact, my buddy Brian, like he built this game, the company that I'm gonna be working with like 2 other people, right? And it's amazing. They did such a good job with it. Osiris New Dawn, that's the game that I'm potentially going to be working on.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Looks cool too. I like it. And we were talking.
I know it's like. Sorry.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I know with like Ori and the Blind Forest, it was just like 7 guys who are working like literally online, like in their own country to make like the game itself, and it turned out like amazing, 5 stars. There was like only like 1 artist, I think. It was just to make that one game.
There it is. That's all I'm trying to get at. There's
Kind of looks like Red Faction, little like better artwork.
Yeah, it's like what a lot of critics are saying is like what No Man's Sky should have been, because like it's like a construction survival game, like you build your own stuff. It's not as big, but you can definitely fly from your planet to a space station. But because it's much harder to do, I think it's more gratifying. Because I think in No Man's Sky, if you spend 2 hours, you could like be in space. But then once you do that, you basically play the whole game. There's like nothing left to explore, which is unfortunate. But like with theirs, like they're building the game with the audience, which I told them was like a much smarter approach. That's how Minecraft did it. Right? Minecraft started like free. It was free, but they kept on taking feedback from the audience and from the gamers, and they kept on changing it based off of that, right? That feedback, you know what I mean? Until they basically sold the game, and then the game became a mega hit, as we all know, and then Notch sold it for $2.5 billion. You know.
That's like the pessimist in the back of my head is like, why am I trying so hard to be a good artist? Just like, just keep it simple. Fucking blocks and people buy that shit. Like,
No. It took time. It's just like that wasn't easy to do either. Like it makes it seem like it's easy, but it took them years.
Easy, but it's just like.
But to my argument, he just stuck with it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always been convincing you guys to try to do. Is just pick something and stick with it, right? That's all it really takes. Just that consistency. It's that flip-floppy attitude that gets you in trouble. That constantly changing what you think is awesome. The next thing you want to do. Just pick something and just become the best at it. And then that's where the money and that's when the
Oh, but don't you have to kind of take capitalism into consideration with a lot of this stuff?
Wait, what?
Like, in terms of having any monetary value in the marketplace, you kind of have to take into consideration.
I mean, let me put it to you this way.
Whether you like something or not, if the masses don't like it, I mean,
let me put it to you this way.
Do it in your spare time until you have the opportunity to actually get money off it.
Yeah, let me put it to this way.
Great, if it's no money in it.
15 years ago, if I went to an economist and told him, hey, look, I have this great idea. What's your idea? So check it out. Me and my friends, we're going to create this website on the internet. Okay, so far so good. I'm with you. It's going to be completely free. What? And what you could do is search for anything. Like, okay, so how do you make money? We don't. It's free. But do you do microtransactions, maybe limit what they can search? Nope. They can search for anything. Do they have to pay premium for faster internet? Nope. Whatever their internet provider is works. Do they have to maybe how do you guys make money? I don't know, but it's gonna be cool. And I'm like, what? You guys are idiots. Get out of my office, right? Google, one of the most wealthiest companies in the world. That's exactly their original business. Was just a free search engine that had a really great algorithm. Completely free. And guess what? I don't know if you know, it's still free. You know what I mean? They found a way. YouTube, same problem. So hey, we'll just put people are gonna put cat videos. Cat videos, yeah. Just cat videos or personal home videos on the internet. People are gonna want to see that. Like home videos. Yeah, like people walking their dog and something like that. That'd be cool. What? How do you make money? Don't worry about it. You know what else I think people are really into? Watching planes land. What? Yeah. It's pretty popular on our site right now. People love watching planes land. Okay, so maybe you sell flight tickets? Nah, dude. Completely free, bro. They can watch it if they want. Huh. Get out of my office. It's the second guy today to come up with a crazy idea. YouTube, right? Here's a more recent one. Hey, you know what? You know how people love YouTube and watching great long videos and Hulu and Netflix and all these great video platforms? You know what else people would want to see? What? 6-second videos. What? 6-second videos. Yeah. There's not enough time to show any content in 6 seconds. Nah, exactly. People are gonna love it. Right? Vine, you know, Instagram. There's plenty of examples of just it seems ludicrous. Like Twitter. Hey, what will be awesome? What? Facebook without everything. What? Yeah, only statuses. Oh wait, what? So basically Facebook, but only statuses. What do you mean by that? That's all you could do is write statuses. But you could put photos and stuff, right? No, just statuses. You know what else would be great? What? You're limited to 130 characters. What? Yeah, dude. It's gonna be epic. All right. And then look at Twitter, right? It's just, you never know. I'm not trying to say that every idea that you come up with, there's going to be an audience for it. But a lot of these people have started different companies, started different ideas, but they always had a very similar origin, right? And one also very similar symptom, which is keeping with it, even if people said it was crazy, right? Like Steve Jobs was a great pioneer of this. He, for many years, believed that 3D animation was going to change the world of animation. And nobody believed him, other than Pixar, the people that he funded. And look what happened, the world of animation. We haven't had a really serious 2D animated film in a long time. And the only ones that we take seriously now are probably animes or Miyazaki films, right? But an American 2D film, it's just not around. But one day someone's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to bring back 2D animation. And they're going to be right. And they're going to bring it back and it's going to be epic. You know? They've kind of already done that with stop animation, with Leica Studios. And a lot of people are like, but the movie flopped, like the latest one, and they don't sell a lot of money. But they know they work within their means and they're making movies that they love. And that's why they can keep making them. They're not going beyond what they think is capable. They know who their audience is and they know how much money they can make. And so it's really important to make that statement. Yes, my love.
When are you gonna be done?
Why? What's wrong?
It's Friday night.
This is my last class, sweetheart. I'm teaching my students. Get out of here before I slap you.
Party time.
Yeah, she's like, it's Friday. I want to hang out with you, David. I'll hang out a bit. Um, but you hear what I'm saying? Like, you guys get my point. Like, if if you let someone dictate based off of like, if you let something like, oh, how am I going to make money from this, or how am I going to build a career off of this? Those are very shallow goals, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to say that you should be stupid and not think about this stuff, right? Right? But I'm just saying, like, there's a reason why these other companies succeeded and kept succeeding, and they did have some of them absolutely had monetary gains in mind, but they didn't think about it in the way that the traditional economists would think. You know,
Yeah.
like for instance, the way that my business strives is very simple. Like the way my school works is very simple. Um, Teach my students really well, make them have a really great impression, and leave the class, better off than they were when they started, right? And then the second thing is just constantly put out video tutorials or streams or artwork because people need to know that I'm around and this is what I do. That's like really the greatest strategies and tools that I use to expand my business, you know? But it all started with just me wanting to just teach people, right? I was like, I bet people would buy $2 or $3 or $4 video tutorials. Like, I don't think that's a problem. I think people would be really into that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I did that, and I was like, I can do them really easily too. Like, I bet there'll just be shot glasses of education. Like this will be just specifically about this one type of thing that I can do. You know what I mean? And sure enough, people were really into it, and I did really well with that. And I was like, you know what, people would like not just your traditional educational system where you have a teacher paint in front of you and talk about their painting. I've done that, and I've learned that that doesn't really work for everyone. And plus, I have videos out there for people to watch anyway. But more of a personal class. And I bet if I charge it a really reasonable cost, nothing too crazy, like 2 grand or something, even if that's kind of what it could be worth, right? It's like, that's not reasonable. Like, I don't want to teach only the super rich, I want to teach most people, but at the same time, I need to make enough money for myself and my family. And I only need to teach 2 or 3 classes, and I should be able to hold afloat from that. And that's what I do. And it does well. I sell out almost every time I have my classes, right?
I
And
get what you mean.
and I'm not trying to do more or less, really. I only I try to help people out, and I try to do things within my means. And even when I started my whole business, I went too far. I went try to do too many things too fast, and that bit me in the butt. You know, so it's really important for people to really this is a big lesson that I'm trying to teach all of you guys. It's really important to try to figure out whatever makes you genuinely happy. Don't just do what you heard another professional artist say, because deep down they might not be telling you the truth about how they feel about their own work and their own agenda. You know?
So what do you think about people who like study like the markets and then just pander to that? Would you
Oh
say
yeah,
that?
that's it's like I said. Like some people, their whole passion is just to make more money. You know what I mean? And I discover for me that's
I
not
mean,
really the
like,
truth, right?
I mean, what if it's only like temporarily just to support themselves, and then the end goal is to support their own personal projects, which they like doing.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what I was even suggesting to Nicholas just a moment ago. It's like, if it means you have to work for a studio to achieve that greater goal, whatever that may be, you know, I just didn't want, specifically to Nicholas, I didn't want him to be distracted with potentially what could be something that actually does not make him happy,
Yeah.
right? Like, like how long were you working for that studio that you worked for, Nicholas?
2 years.
For how many years?
Like a year and a half to almost 2 years. Really good.
Yeah, so that's enough. That's like still like the honeymoon stage, right? I think like after you get 3 years in, that's when you start, or even 4 years, that's when you start to question whether you like working there or not. You know, I see a lot of people leaving on a consistent basis around 4 or 5 years their studio that they work at, especially if they keep working on the same stuff, right? For me, I get bored much quicker,
Yeah.
and so I'm not trying to say that you don't like to work. I'm just saying, like, don't be in such a hurry. Like, you'll get a job, and then hopefully it'll be a job that will keep you afloat for a while. And even more importantly, maybe a job that will potentially help you have portfolio for more jobs in the future, right? So if you decide to leave, you can on your own accord versus what happened to you prior, right?
And man, I'm just sick of working in fucking pizza shops. And
Yeah, I hear you, man.
away from me, right?
Yeah, I hear you, dude. I'm not opposed to that either. I think you're right to hate that. So let's keep working towards it. One of the biggest advices that I can give you though on that is just keep doing quality work. You know, like try to aim for the best possible work you possibly can get. Okay,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to help you to secure jobs from here on out. You know, building that reputation, building that thing, and that takes time. It's unfortunately, buddy, it takes time. Like I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, right? And I built my reputation over those 10 years, specifically in the last 7 years. I mean, nobody knew who I was 7 years ago. You know, a lot of you didn't even know who I was probably within the last year or two, right? So
Uh,
it's
I
just
found you.
No, dude, I've been stalking you ever since.
it's been
since you
3
were
years.
born, since you were in Korea.
Since I was born,
Since
I've
you
been
were a
stalking
fetus.
I'm like, wait a minute, how did you know about Korea? I was there the whole days, way before you were even an artist. What the? Um, but you know what I'm saying? Like right now, it's just hard to see because you're in the trenches now. You know what I mean? But speaking from someone that was in the trenches, that had people that I admired, now I'm admired by those people, which is crazy to think. You know, like it's just a matter of time.
Um,
Right? That guy Simon that I showed you his work earlier, right? He was like one of my first students at schoolism, which was so long ago, and his work is so much better now. It's crazy.
What is this? What is it? Simon what?
Simon Dubuk, Dubuc. I don't know if you could find some of his older stuff that he did for my class, but he is way better now than he was then. It's crazy. Yeah. I have a lot of students that are
gross.
like getting
Sorry.
way epic, and it's cool to see.
Just a general question, but uh, are there certain types of people you would advise like stay away from?
I can't say that because it's not professional.
Oh,
I do. I
like
have to.
not certain people, but like certain types of people.
That's easy, and you already know this answer. Jerk offs.
Oh,
People that
okay.
think
Oh,
they're better.
does that mean people with guns?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, man.
But
You're off my list, bro.
to be
People with
serious,
dead animals in their living room?
to be serious though, like
Mm.
to be serious, like yeah, there's really terrible people out there that are great artists and they're admired by a lot of people. Like you might actually like these people. Like you might love their work and you might follow them in their adventures and all that stuff. But if you knew who they were behind scenes, you'd be like, oh my gosh. But like I said, it's unprofessional. I've just
Could
seen
you
it.
Okay.
could you say something about the industry in general, not specifically that
Oh
you
yeah.
just
No, there's nothing really.
and
I
like
actually love our
both?
industry. I love our
Oh,
industry. I think like 99% of it is just awesome and super supportive, right? Yeah, like there's a lot of people that are really loud, you know, and they complain a lot, but they're actually the minority. They're just very loud. It's just the silent majority of people are very happy and very like, you know, supportive of people and really encouraging.
yeah.
It's just that small few are just like super aggressive. They just want people to know how much they hate everything. And they're just very loud. And then all the other loud people are like, yeah, I want to be loud too. But the majority of people are pretty chill and pretty awesome. If you go to any event, you'll recognize that right away. Like Samara, you went to the Edge Control, like you've experienced it firsthand. Like people are generally like awesome and want to hang out and have a good time. right?
Yeah, it's always like, let's try together, and it's just like,
Yeah.
man, I'd love to, but so busy. um,
Feed him
uh, also a question in terms of painting, but you wouldn't really use jet black unless like it's corners and edges?
No, I just do it whenever. I use it as a
Okay.
graphical tool, like a design tool.
Have a red ball, pretty much.
I understand why people, like instructors, instruct you to stay away from black because it usually reflects the lack of control you have over your values. Like you just make your shadows really black. But if you have really good control over your values, then it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But that's the disclaimer: be good with your values. So on the
Mhm.
on the front end of that, just don't use it often until you understand. Yeah,
Okay. Is the same like issue with white?
yeah, because this has absolute black and absolute white going on it for it, but it looks fine, right?
Mm.
That hair on.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's it, guys. I'll let you guys go.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate y'all. We'll meet one more time before, just because I know some of you guys, there's a lot of you guys. I'll invite all of you guys to hang in for that. But it'll be short. It won't be too long. It'll probably just be a review and then maybe a little demo and then peace out. Adios.
Nice.
But that's
What
it.
day would this be?
It'll be next week.
Wednesday or Friday?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
keep your eye on the chat.
Sure.
I'll let you guys know, and then for anyone who wasn't there, remind the others or tell the others what I said if you were there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
But yeah, cool. That's it.
Cool.
I'll talk to you guys soon. But great stuff. Regardless, I appreciate all you guys' great effort, and keep up the good work. Keep up the motivation and the positive. You know, I was pretty aggressive about like what I was saying. Like you really have to have good work, and you have to really network too, which means going out to events if you can. Talk to people outside of your comfort zone. Like use the internet, man. You have the internet. But those are the only two things you can ever really control. You can't control whether there's a job opening or there's a position open for you, but if your work is good and you put it out there enough, someone's going to bound to find it and give you an opportunity. But if you stay in your own room and nobody knows what you're doing and you're just drawing and you're not even working on getting better, it's going to be harder. It's just is. You increase your opportunities with better work and more social networking. And it takes time. Don't expect it all happen overnight. It takes time and time and time. And the biggest thing that you can do if you guys are having a hard time understanding the quality your work needs to be, just look at people that clearly are working and have the work that you want to do. Just try to match it up to that. It might seem impossible now, but trust me, it's not. Okay? All right. But with that, peace out, friends. I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you. Laters.
Thank
Peace.
you. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to watch more in the future. If you liked the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you like this content, you can go to my website, robotpencil.net, where you can find mentorships, tutorials, and a Patreon to get more exclusive content. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next videos.